The side comes through with Royce Arliff leading them. This is the full side. Ian Schubert, Terry Fahey, Ron Giteau, Noel Cleal, Kerry Boustead, Laurie, Kevin Hastings, John Tobin, Les Cleal, Ian Barkley, Royce Arliff, Jeff Masterman, Dave Brown, coach Bob Fulton. Now the Magpies in their different uniform today. Warren Boland leads them out, and this is the full side. Wayne Smith, Steve Broughton, Steve Anderson, Ross Conlon, Warren Boland, Terry Lamb, Greg Cox, Jim Lease, George Morocco, Michael Duke, Terry Leabeater, Arthur Mantia, Paul Merlo, and coach Jerry Fernley. The referee, Mr. Jack Danzy. Keep your eye for a good tackle too, Chuggerwin. Away they go, the first preliminary semi-final of 1982. Western Suburbs receiving the ball. Wayne Smith's got it, putting it back downfield. Barry Ross on the sideline. Yes, and Western Suburbs have won the toss. They decided to run the way they are now from the south before the game, and they've won the toss and decided to do that. So Eastern Suburbs kicking off. There is a big wind out here. It's the amphitheatre effect of the Sydney Cricket Ground, but mostly from the south, so favouring Western Suburbs this half. And Ian Schubert, who took that kick back from Wayne Smith, was surrounded by players who infringed the offside radius, and they've been penalised. First penalty of the match to Easts. Schubert playing with a fairly substantial wound in his eye too from last week's match. For Eastern Suburbs really had a head clash with Canberra's Louis Bott penalty. And this is inside the 5. Opportunity for a kick at goal, but we'll see what Royce Arliff selects to do. Giteau will attempt the kick at goal. This is from about 10 yards out from the quarter and about 17 yards in from the sideline. As Barry mentioned, the breeze swirls around quite a lot in this ground. I would estimate he's kicking into the breeze. If he gets it up high, it'll certainly be effective. Giteau around the corner type of kicker. And there's the stat. 74 from 104. Success rate 71.2. Very substantial. Curved away to the left. Wayne Smith has it. Made a nice break up towards the quarter. West in the white uniform with a black V, which is different to their normal black uniform with a white V. This is the summer uniform, short sleeves. And a penalty now to Western Suburbs. And Giteau was in with a swinging arm on that occasion. See it again. And missed. Greg Cox, who will need to get his kicking game well into gear early. A very disappointing game last week against St George for Western Suburbs.
He only kicked one goal last week from about 4 attempts.
Lead leader just on the halfway line. Mountier will go to dummy half most of the day for Wests. Merlot playing in the front row. Mountier again. Cox. Grubber type kick. Takes play up to Eastern Suburbs quarter. And you can see by the touch judge's flag there, if we pan just fractionally left, there it is. The breeze at ground level there favouring Western Suburbs. Lease. A late pass away to Broughton. The left winger who's come in field. Cox. Morocco. One of the new players in this Western Suburbs side. Completely new second row. Cox. Lamb. One of the Rashford players who's unavailable for Kangaroo selection. Cox. Standing wide out there with George Morocco again. Up towards the quarter. East end. Midfield. Merlot. Last tackle coming up. Let's see what the West tactics are. Whether it's the bomb. There she goes. It's the charge of the White Brigade. Schubert flies. Loses it. Ball down. West ball. 6 to go. Well, that's a pretty good test for Schubert. He didn't get that one cleanly at all. Mountier, the dummy. Back on the inside. Gets it away to Conlon. Lost behind. Conlon tackled about 15 yards out. Michael Duke. Plenty of pressure for Eastern Suburbs now. Lee Beater. Mountier. Cox. Oh, bad pass. Broughton picks it up, goes weaving his way through, gets it within about 11 yards. Prolific try scorer this year, but is in a little bit of a form slump the last 3 weeks. Lamb again. The bomb for Schubert. Leaps high. Been disallowed, been knocked on in the in goal. Let's see the end-on shot of that. There's the head-on shot. And they're coming through. Plenty of pressure there for Schubert as he stands his ground, leaps at that point. And Wayne Smith, the opposition fullback, got to it. And the referee judged it to have been lost in goal. Lost by an attacking player in the end goal. Arnold puts that one down. West come up with it. Moving it out along the line. Merlot standing wide. Can't unload. On the blind side they come. Jim Lease. Out to Steve Anderson. Now they're running crossfield. Oh, sucked the defence right up on Duke. That's not good. Pass too late. Lamb. Cox. Inside the quarter again. Mountier. Lamb, little grubber kick. It's not a good one. Went straight to Eastern Suburbs player there, Brown, I think.
Yes, Dave Brown.
And that was a very badly executed kick. Didn't go far enough. Hastings got a pass away to Schubert off the edge of the ruck, up to the quarter. Laurie. Telecast brought to you by Mazda and your local Mazda dealer. West won both the premiership rounds this year. The first one 4-2, the second 14-10. There'll be knock-ons there both ways. 14-10 at Lidcombe. The second one was a fairly controversial win. Some disallowed tries that day that the East camp thought, I think, 2 to Boustead.
That was right.
Were highly controversial. This is the Mountier scrum stat. 221 from 413, 53.5. And they're almost identical, these scrum stats, these two hookers. Only a decimal point between them. Penalty to Eastern Suburbs. The two Wests against Eastern Suburbs. This will give the opportunity for a kick at goal. The ball knocked out of his hand there, as you can see. Greg Cox will need to get a good kick in, even if it doesn't go over. He will need the confidence boost of a good kick.
Of course, and should Cox not kick well today, Western can call on Ross Conlon around the corner kicker as Giteau is, and he's equally competent.
All right, there's the Cox situation. 59 from 95, attempt success rate 62.1. This is 15 yards out from the quarter and almost midfield. And he's hooked it away badly, as he did against St George last week with 3 attempts in the first half. Schubert. The Magpies have got a pretty bad record at the Sydney Cricket Ground, Barry.
Yes, they have. The only win they've had in recent times was in the semi-final in 1980 against St George.
And it's been back to 1961 since they beat Eastern Suburbs here.
That's right.
Well, look at the power there. Aleph driven backwards there by Duke and Lamb. He's a little bit disjointed at the moment.
Yes, and a couple of early handling errors can't be making Bobby Fulton too happy.
There's Hastings electing to kick. That might be out on the full. Takes it very well. Unloads. Ian Smith tries to stand his man up but can't do it. There's a top tackle there from Boustead. Jimmy Lease on the surge. Well, West all on a bunch behind the ruck at the moment. Cox, Merlot going to ground too much with the ball, Merlot. Switched up the blind side to Lee Beater. Well, that pass miraculously taken by Conlon. Lost it behind him. Swoops it up to Cox, to Lamb. Lamb nowhere to go. They're all bunched, Western Suburbs. Lease. Oh, floating pass out to Smith. Smith gets it down. This is on the drive, and he's going strongly. Some good strong defence there too to pick him up inside Eastern Suburbs quarter. Tobin doing the excellent lock cover job there to stop Anderson's good sprint. And he's come up with a scrum win. I think that's their first. 2-1 the scrums at the moment. The penalties 2-all. And penalty, failing to get off the tackled player, Terry Lamb.
I think that was a bit harsh, that penalty. Lamb seemed to have his head trapped by the East player's legs and was making all sorts of efforts to get away from him.
Well, there's the tackle. Well, Lamb, yes, appeared to be the man who was not responsible for being held down there or holding the player down. Barkley. Earlier games resulted in big wins. Newtown came up with a 26-5 win over South Sydney. And Parramatta with a 23-5 win over Manly. So both Manly and Souths are gone from the lower grades. They were sudden death, the same as this game is. Loser kaput for 1982. Masterman, Hastings, Cleal, forward pass, but a little bit, but he's on the sideline anyway as Boustead took the pass and Conlon took Boustead. See it again. This pass from Cleal to me looked a little bit forward. No doubt about that. Cox had a terrible time with referee Roberts last week. And it's an Eastern Suburbs ball. Hastings, Tatum standing out. Effectively tackle Lamb. Hastings. Nicely to Boustead, who's come midfield. Tobin. Laurie. Schubert. Plenty of defence there in the middle of the field. Alice. Hastings. Oh, beautiful pass to Barkley. And he threw a pass to no one. Boustead had gone on the inside. Barkley threw it out and there was no one there. Well, it does do to have a bit of a look before you pass. West come up with a scrum win here. Lee standing out, taken straight away. Can't see the point in lock forward standing out, being given the ball by their halfbacks and then taking the tackle. Terry Leabeater. Hastings the tackler. Arthur Mountier. Lamb's kick again, a bad one. Giving it out to Tobin. That's twice that Terry Lamb has badly executed kicks.
Yes, he almost appeared to completely miss that one.
Abe Brown. And Giteau, former Western Suburbs player. Terry Fernley, the West coach, a little bit like a cat in the hot tent roof at the moment, watching his side go round. Barkley taken high and not illegally by Morocco. Bailiff. Hastings, Laurie, holding the ball, dumming to give it on the run around. Last tackle, midfield. No score in this match. We've had 15 minutes of play. There's a high bomb. A little bit of pressure for Wayne Smith. They were all over him then. I believe he was touched and knocked out of the way there, but the referee allowed play. Now we've got two touch judges in. Let's see a replay of that and see if we can pick what the actual action was. Well, it's something we couldn't see from here.
It may have been an incident after Terry Lamb had miskicked that ball 3 or 4 rucks ago, and I think the referee's speaking to Lamb now.
Well, quite a bit of chatter going on out there, and referee Danzy laying down the law. Lamb's there.
Lamb probably was involved. There's probably some retaliation from East, and depends which way the linesman's seen it.
So the scrum, no, he's going to trot back over here and award the penalty. I just can't work out why the penalty's there if the incident that you're referring to was the one that Lamb was involved in when he miskicked. It was well over this way.
Yes, I feel it was the incident, Rex, just the same. Maybe the referee's lost a little perspective. It's reasonably close
to it. A little perspective, yeah, I would say he's lost about 15 yards perspective.
Well, it's pressure football at this time of the year.
It can't be the Lamb incident, as in my view, he couldn't have moved the play back midfield that far. Anyway, we've got a situation that a penalty's been awarded about 23 yards out, and it's almost directly in front. Giteau round the corner. See your faces in the background. First blood to the Roosters, and they lead after 18 minutes of play, 2 points nil. You've been back through it. Ross Conlon restarts now, driving that one deep. It's going to go into the end goal where Schubert will field it. May go dead. It does. Arthur Mountier watching his opposite number Masterman start it there. Masterman wrapped up straight away, but the referee claiming he was offside. Got to face square on against Lebeater. "19 minutes gone. 2-0 Eastern Suburbs. Incidentally, Eastern Suburbs have got the second best defensive record in the competition. Second, of course, to Parramatta. They've conceded only 54 tries. West have conceded 69. Is the error situation? East 3, West 2 at this stage. Cleal puts that down. The pass was not a good one. West come up with a quick turnover. Lebeater, Mountier, Lamb. Still on the halfway line. Morocco. Big strapping player. Plenty of fire.
Yes, he had a back injury earlier this season. He's only played 11 first grade games, but did play in a Brisbane grand final for South in 1980.
A swinging arm noticed by referee Dancy. There's Michael Duke. He's got some pace. This man's gone right through the ruck, up to the corner. It's a great run. And Lebeater was screeching for the ball on the left, and he's still waving his arms around. Now West's on attack. Greg Cox. And that's the 6. Great break by Michael Duke. Right through the ruck. A scrum about 20 yards out from East line. Another one to Eastern Suburbs. Laurie. Hastings turns it back on the inside to Cleal. Cleal makes a good inroad up the middle. Newton 2 tackles. Conlon takes him high. It was a case of climbing on him and forcing him down. Heel back, and West come up with the ball. That was a good rake. Noel Cleal showed his disgust there at Conlon. As Broughton comes back in field, loses the ball. Eastern Suburbs come up with it. Possession changing hands. Warren Boland, the West skipper, sprinting out to his position on the wing. He'd come midfield. Hastings. Olaf hit hard. Lebeater. The blind side comes Tobin. Stood up in the tackle, got it to Masterman. Just over halfway. 2-0, East lead, 22 minutes gone. Hastings, Laurie, Barkley, arguably one of the fastest forwards in Sydney.
Yes, Bobby Fulton considered him fast enough to try in the centre at various stages of this season.
And that's the 6. Lebeater has a way of almost invariably appealing to the referee on everything to do with him. That's a penalty to Eastern Suburbs. The ruling for the differential is feet across. A very physical game so far, and plenty of errors forced by the heavy defensive commitment. That's a good kick from Hastings across the bruise. Now Masterman to restart onto Olaf. Switches it back inside to Brown. Brown's on the surge. Mountier takes him high. Merlot had him round the waist. Tobin, Hastings, Cleal, Les that is. Tobin. Playing pretty well, Tobin. Had a bad injury with his arm or shoulder, Barry. Hastings, a little dummy. Ooh, very close to being able to unload there. It's only about 15 yards out from the west line now. Aleph, Barkley, good tackle there, Merlot. Last tackle. Barkley very groggy as he gets up. Hastings going for the drop at goal. That's another point to Eastern Suburbs, and they lead after 24 minutes, 3 points to 0. Barkley in trouble. He was heavily tackled before. I think Merlot was one of the people involved.
Yes, Merlot came over the top and made sure the pass wasn't given away.
It's sickened Barkley. He's down. And kick goes to Les Cleal. Tackle on the 10-yard line. Brown. Aleph. Did well to take that. He was under pressure from the moment the pass came at him. Hastings, Laurie, Giteau. Scrums are 3 all. The penalties have gone each way 5-2. No Brown. East forward started to assert a little bit of authority now. Hastings kicked. Very nearly got Ron Bowden, who's the trainer for Eastern Suburbs, and Barkley in all sorts of trouble, being helped from the field. We'll look for a replacement there. Yes, he's bleeding pretty heavily from the mouth as he comes off. We've got 15 minutes to half time. Differential penalty to Western Suburbs. A little bit of pushing and shoving going on. Masterman being told he's lifting his feet too early. And Royce Aleph shielding his eyes and looking anxiously over to see what's happening in terms of Barkley.
Well, here comes Gary Warneke to the sideline now. Yes, they took him straight to the dressing room, and I'm sure the East doctor had a look and said it was a bad injury, and so Warneke wearing number 20 coming out to the sideline.
Merlot on the surge. Gary Warneke playing in number 20 on the field. No, the touch judge has called him to the sideline, and he can go on now.
Yes, and John Tobin will probably go to the second row for Barkley, and Warneke to lock.
Smith gets a kick downfield. It's going to go down the throat of Schubert, who takes it well. Swinging arm went in there from Anderson on Schubert. Tobin. Just got to check that Eastern Suburbs pack next time they scrum down, Barry, to see if Tobin does go in the second row. There's Warneke. Now Tobin, Hastings, the run around with Aleph. Little chip over the top. Should go to Wayne Smith. Oh, Cleal had it in his hands and picked up by Conlon. Near thing for the Magpies, just outside their quarter. Warren Boland. Three of the Eastern Suburbs three quarters there standing in front of the referee. As the kick goes down, Boustead drops it behind. And Lamb takes him in a beautiful tackle. Warnocky. Hastings. Lamb drives him sideways. Masterman. Olaf. Big Cleal standing there. That's Les. Laurie. 3-0 Eastern Suburbs with 12 minutes to half time. That's a penalty goal to Giteau and a field goal to Kevin Hastings. Flopped the pass over the top to Giteau. Anderson the tackler. Merlo came and tackled Schubert without the ball. The blind side goes Schubert. Burst the first line. And that's the 6. We'll look at this scrum.
Yes, Tobin into second row.
Wayne Smith, another scrum into Western Suburbs. Makes it 4-3. Terry Lamb. Broughton. The winger coming right across field. Now Jim Lease. Oh, great tackle. It's only Tobin there with a blockbuster tackle. Warren Boland. Trying to stir this west side up, who've just gone a bit flat. Lamb. Merlo standing out as a centre, unloaded to Lamb, who couldn't hold it. And that'll be a scrum down. Merlo standing a little bit too wide for mine as a prop forward. Schubert's eye, the one he had, I think, about 15 stitches in.
Yes, it's a nasty cut in his eye. Very early in the game last week against Canberra.
That's a penalty to Eastern Suburbs. Feed across against Arthur Mountier. Now Hastings' kick. Quite dramatically affected by the breeze, and it's a gain of about 15 yards. Olaf. Noel Cleal. And he's lost it.
Anderson has it for West.
That was Lamb came up with it. He beat Conlon. Jim Lease, Wayne Smith rather, the fullback chiming in. Conlon. He's about 8 yards from halfway. It's beat all Eastern Suburbs territorially. Duke. Merlo. Merlo about 3 yards from halfway. Lease. That's a long floppy pass out to Anderson, who's running cross field. Broughton at dummy half. Offside Eastern Suburbs. 1, 2, 3 says Mr. Ramsey, and I subscribe to the view that East's backs have been offside in a lot of rucks. Boland, the West skipper, coming field to have a chat to his players there from the right wing with 9 minutes to go. Cox, Lamb. Pretty stereotype move. That one gets up and plays it forward. There was no marker. It's an easy gain of about 9-10 yards. Mountier. George Morocco having a go on his own. I think they'll need a bit more subtlety than that to penetrate this rock-like East defence. Wayne Smith chiming in. 10 yards out from East line. Mountier runs cross field. Merlo. That's 7 yards out. Last tackle. Greg Cox kicks back towards the sideline. They're all flying for it. It's been knocked over the dead ball line by Eastern Suburbs. Line dropped to restart. I think it was Kerry Boustead managed to get a hand to that.
Yes, Kerry Boustead was the player. He's up very high and pushed it straight over the dead ball line.
And he'd be very close to being the shortest player on the field, he and Terry Lamb perhaps. So spring heels, he certainly leapt up well there. Good opportunity for West with his kick shouldn't go too far into the breeze. It hasn't. Taken well by Duke. He's got himself into a side-on situation. Couldn't get straightened up. 30 yards out. Boland. Nicely unloaded there by George Morocco, but East defence again very strong. Now Lee beater. Oh, well tackled right round the waist. Johnny Tobin, who's getting through a mountain of defensive work. Cox switching it. That could be shepherding. Oh, terrible pass being put down there, but Broughton did well. Lamb and Warnicky are trading punches there furiously on the sideline.
That's Ron Giteau.
Giteau? Oh. Touch judges in. All started over that very bad pass. Terry Lamb, I think, resented the fact that Broughton was being... that should have been shepherding there too, in my view. That pass there. Well, Broughton did well to get back to that. But at this point, Broughton looked in danger of being forced over the sideline by Giteau. Lamb was there to assist. And a few punches between these two. And that was a David Goliath contest. Penalty goes to Western Suburbs out of that. Free Danzy hearing what had to be said, and Cox taking another attempt at goal. Our King G Awards during this 1982 final series. The preliminary semi-finals, the money stays the same. That's today and tomorrow. And the major semi-finals next week. And that is the man of the match, $600. And the try of the match, the man most responsible for it, $250. In the finals on 19th of September, the man of the match, $700. Try of the match, $300. The grand final, the man of the match, $1,000. 26th of September, grand final. Try of the match, $500. Cox's kick is a bad one again. It's hooked. And would not have had the distance anyway, and failed to kick it dead, which is probably the worst sin of the lot. At least come up with the ball near their own line. Tobin. And he, maybe that evened out there. I thought he could have been pinged for shepherding too. 3-0, Eastern Suburbs. Big Les Cleal on the surge. Invariably beats the first tackle. On the quarter line, Eastern Suburbs, it was Giteau. About 4 minutes to half-time. Royce Aleph running as a subterfuge across the ruck. There's Laurie unloading beautifully to Schubert. It's a pass nicely to Giteau. He hasn't got the pace to go on with this. Hastings is there. Back on the inside to Laurie. And a very nice bit of football from Eastern Suburbs. It's a good Eastern Suburbs heel. Schubert unloaded to Laurie. Still managed to get a pass back to Warnicky. And to Hastings. Hastings lobs it over there to big Noel Cleal. He's on the surge. It's out to Terry Fahey. And he's going to score in the corner. That's a good try. Simple. Hastings' little lob pass was one of the things instrumental. Laurie's loosening of the ball in the midfield too. And the Eastern Suburbs banners fly. Here it is. Schubert. What's this one from Laurie? One-handed. Then to Warnocky. Back to Hastings nicely. Little lob pass over the top. Noel Cleal sees himself into the clear. Fahey's there. All that we had for Western Suburbs was number 9, George Morocco. His pace wasn't equal to catching a winger, and Fahey's in. Clever work by East, keeping that ball alive. Laurie does it there. Warnocky with good stepping does it there. And Hastings does it with a basketball pass. Nicely pulled in Wayne Smith too by Noel Cleal, and Fahey, although he carries the ball on the wrong arm, scores a fine try. Giteau a yard short of the quarter, 10 yards in from the sideline, kicking across the breeze, not an easy kick for him. And no result from that one. So the score then, with only a minute or so to half-time, and official time is 6, West 0. Oh, there's an interesting one. Boustead took it so casually, but he was very close to the sideline. Inside the last minute, according to the clock on the hill. West desperately need points. Olaf. And the report on Barkley is that he's got some loosened teeth. As Laurie comes away, gets a pass to Olaf, who nicely gets it to Hastings, then on to Cleal. Cleal on the surge. Magnificent sight, this big fellow. Look at him go. Oh, and he tried to get a pass away and dropped it. What a tragedy. Schubert was on the boil there. There's the hooter for half-time. Can we see that action again? It could have led to a try. And it's just a bit of misfortune there. Some excellent football. As Laurie first, then to Olaf. Nicely back to Hastings, selectively to Cleal. Look at this fellow run. He's magnificent, around 16 stone. The Poms would love to see him coming at them, wouldn't they? And trying to give the ball there to Schubert. It dropped out of his hand. So at the half-time break, a very solid position for Eastern Suburbs, 6 points to 0. For them, a try to Fahey, a penalty goal to Ron Giteau, and a field goal to Kevin Hastings. No score yet for Western Suburbs. The scrums are 4-all. The penalties are 6-5 in Eastern Suburbs' favour. The errors, though, Eastern Suburbs 7, Western Suburbs 4. The number of times each side has given the ball back to the opposition, and we see Rocky Laurie being assisted from the field. We'll be back with more of the action in just a moment on 7's Big League. Away they go for the second half, and Western Suburbs are 40 minutes away from oblivion in 1982. Loser is out. Cleal clears the ball back to halfway. Wayne Smith will pick it up there. They're all offside. Now they're on. Barry Ross has had a talk with Western Suburbs side. And what's the story?
Yes, well, Terry Fernley spoke to his team and spent a lot of time telling them that they're too flat in attack. They've got to get deeper. They've got to run onto that ball and create the openings that he thinks they're capable of. He also told them to use this crosswind and put the pressure on East with bombs. Eastern Suburbs, meanwhile, they've made a change at half-time. Rocky Laurie came off, as we saw, with concussion. He's been replaced by John Harvey, which means a team reshuffle with probably Warnocky going to 5'8" and Harvey coming into the forwards. So
John Harvey on in number 16 for Eastern Suburbs. Warnocky, the likelihood of going to 5'8". And was there any mention made of Merlot standing out so wide in the as a prop forward for Western Suburbs and getting out among the backs all the time?
Well, I wasn't there for the entire team talk, Rex, but I didn't hear that, no.
I think he's disrupting the Western Suburbs attack. Boland knocks that behind him, no knock on. He's got Wayne Smith, unloads to Smith. who's then bulldozed to the ground by Noel Cleal on the halfway. 6-0, Eastern Suburbs lead. Cox. Broughton there, the winger. And still on the blind side they go. Greg Cox. Anderson. Not a spear tackle. Wests are really going to have to get into the game because they've fallen away badly. And Eastern Suburbs defence is just smothering them out of the game. Out here, Lamb, Conlon. Last tackle coming up. On the blind side comes Cox. Anderson, the little dummy, nicely. And that takes play to within about 25 yards of the Eastern Suburbs line. And a clean heel to Eastern Suburbs. Tobin standing out, takes the tackle, but unloads nicely to Schubert. Schubert's got it away to Warnicky. Warnicky's up towards halfway. Steps, goes round his man. Looks to support now. And does finally get it away to Hastings. Hastings out to Giteau, doing a little Lewis Jones hops, giving a jump to Boustead, and he's finally tackled on the halfway line. So he's bringing some chain passing excitement into the game.
Yes, and it came after an East player was held and not put on the ground and unable to slip the pass away, just like they tried it with Fahey.
Hastings. Dave Brown. Masterman at dummy half. It's a penalty. Must get up with the ball. Let's just see that action again. The referee penalising Brown for that. There's the tackle. Didn't get up with the ball. He wasn't released, I hasten to add, but the referee judged that he was in error. Now Western Suburbs. Cox, Lamb. Defence up very quick there. Noel Cleal was up among the West backs before the ball got out. There, Merlot again. Loses the ball. Knocked off. I'm very disappointed with Merlot's performance. He's played well below the standard he's capable of. Five minutes of the second half gone. Look at these backs. Both sets of backs so flat they could literally reach out and shake hands with each other. Schubert, the fullback, picked off straight away. Hastings, Warnicky, back to Hastings. Nicely then out to Cleal. Cleal got a bit of room to move. Beats one tackle. And loads nicely to Fahey. His defence coming over. It's another try to Eastern Suburbs. Fahey in for his second. And Eastern Suburbs look infinitely the better team at the moment. And Noel Cleal delighted. That's the second try he's laid on for Fahey. And a noticeable lack of cover from Western Suburbs. Warnicky's nice pass to Hastings. Quick hands there to Cleal, giving the big fella just that little bit of room. Evaded the tackle there so easily of Lamb, I think it was. Back on the inside to Fahey. And despite the despairing dive from Anderson, the try scored. And the second one to Terry Fahey from head-on. A lot of accolade goes to Hastings for these very quick pass here. That was beautiful. Cleal, what's the little hop action that he does through the tackle? Lifts the knees high and loaded beautifully one-handed to Fahey. And Fahey, the big former Australian winger, evades the Anderson tackle. And comes down, increases the angle. The try is the conversion is successful, and a very sorry scoreline from a Western Suburbs point of view. East's 11, West's 0. Back to halfway come the Magpies. They've really got it all to do now. 6 minutes gone, 11-0 down. A footballer of the match will appear on Sports World tomorrow, receiving $600 as the King G Award. All those weekly award winners will be judged, and at the end of the year, the Controversy Corner panel on Sports World will select from all those weekly award winners one man. He'll be the magnificent winner of a Mazda RX-7 valued at $17,524. The player responsible for the King G try of this match receives $250. And at year's end, all those tries will be judged, and the man responsible for the try of the year will receive a Mazda 626 valued at $9,564. Now, Wests have got to start standing deeper. They've got to start keeping the ball alive. Pass the ball in to men in better positions, not die with it constantly as some of them are doing. Gets up and plays it forward, Merlot. And at last he unloads out to Mountier. That touched. And Eastern Suburbs back in possession. That pass from Morocco was knocked down, but knocked on. Schubert. Nicely to Boustead on the halfway line. Western Suburbs only a shadow of the team that played during the competition round today. Aleph, Cleal again. Through the least tackle. Hastings, Warnicky, Tobin. Now Hastings puts the kick up. Boland will take this, takes it well. And offside. Can't be penalised for being offside. You can be penalised for interfering with the player that's receiving the ball when you're in an offside position. Cox. And the kick takes play to within about 15 yards. Cox. Lamb. Merlot. Lamb. Nicely to Conlon. Very close to being through. That's it away to Smith. Smith on the juke. Has he got the pace to go on with it? No. Pass knocked down. Ball on the ground. At 6 to go is the right decision by referee Danzy. It was touched by an Eastern Suburbs player. Morocco has it, Leabeater rather. Mountier dumming, but it shouldn't have gone to a hooker out there. Too many forwards getting in the way of the backs in the Western Suburbs side. Well, Morocco on the surge there and looked for a second as though he might get over. Mountier, Smith, Anderson. Now the Eastern Suburbs backs in a straight line and finally get West over the sideline. So the defence equal to the task. Referee wants that one again. It's a Hastings feed for Eastern Suburbs. And up he comes with it. Tobin standing wide, makes a good inroad. Up over the quarter. Now a quick play, the ball will have Western all sorts of disarray here if he can get up quickly. Schubert. Hastings swings it wide to Warnicky. Still gets a pass away. Back to Hastings, scoops it up nicely. Back to the quarter. Aleph. Masterman. Warnicky. Giteau rather. Aleph round as a foil. Fahey gets it instead. Giteau. Hastings getting the play out of the way, but it's a bad kick and goes straight to Smith. He evades one tackle. Comes back midfield. Leabeater. Lease cuts out a man nicely to Conlon. We're showing a little bit more enterprise now, keeping the ball alive. Cox, Mountier, Merlot. And Eastern Suburbs defence to be admired. Lamb, at last he's got a kick where he wanted it. Well, that was a grand little kick. It gave Boland a rough chance of a try, and it also found touch. And that's exactly what Terry Lamb needed to do right from the outset. We're looking for our corrugated paper tackle of the week in these two matches this weekend. And Western Suburbs differential penalty against Hastings for an incorrect feed. Boland, West captain, racing in there to pull Terry Leabeater away from an altercation. Waste of time that, exactly. Another penalty. They can convert this into a kick at goal if they wish. Offside penalty. What's Boland going to do? Give it to Cox. Well, I think that's probably the right decision with 10 or 12 minutes gone in the second half and 11 points down. But there's no certainty Cox in his present form is going to kick the goal. Now, watch the offside play that referee. See, they're well up in front of the line. Giteau's a yard into the field of play, even when he backed off. Greg Cox's third attempted goal. He's only about 18 yards out. He's about 10 yards off centre, but he's kicking in bad form at the moment. But he struck that well and eased it over nicely. So West's on the board, and that will give them a little bit of confidence. 11-2, Eastern Suburbs lead, and we've had now 14 minutes of the second half. Streamers and coloured paper, which we'll see in great abundance out here for the final couple of matches, the final and the grand final, flying around the ground. Hastings gives it to Schubert. Schubert goes through the first tackle, and that wasn't a spear tackle. Conlon just picked him up and put him down fairly gently, I thought. Hastings getting play out of Eastern Suburbs territory. Boland can't handle it. Ferocious bounce on it, came at right angles. There's the Hastings kick, and watch it break, the things a rugby ball can do. There you are. At absolute right angles. Crisp ball, Boland comes midfield. And the West backs now have got to position themselves deeper and give themselves room to run onto the ball. Too shallow. Lease. Cox, Lamb, and that was a high tackle, and Harvey going to be spoken to. The crowd screaming off. I don't believe it was a malicious head-high tackle. It was a high tackle. It wasn't a swinging arm, and he's being spoken to, and the referee being pretty heavy about it. Harvey must have had his heart in his throat. Penalties have gone 5-0 in the second half in the opening 15 minutes to Western Suburbs. Not doing a whole lot with it. Cox, Lamb, Merlot. Oh dear, that was terrible. Merlot made a meal of the pass, and Duke put it down. Much too long and deliberate. Hastings, Aleph, Schubert. Yes, well, West have put the ball down 5 times and given it back to the opposition 5 times in this second half opening 16 minutes. Hastings. Aleph. The skipper powering his way forward. Masterman. Hastings. Giteau. Conlon's riding piggyback on him. That's been stolen from him. It's a penalty to Easts. Mr. Dancy signifying by the raking motion with his hands that it was a stolen ball. "17 minutes of the second half gone. East's 11, West's 2. A restart. 21,167 the crowd. Now Eastern Suburbs back in a good attacking position. Masterman from dummy half. Hastings. Play now 10 yards out from West line. Masterman. Warnicky. Masterman. Brown. Cleal. Warnicky. Hastings elected to start to look at a field goal there, but he's gone right through and unloaded nicely to Schubert, who's pulled out only a yard from the line and on the 6th tackle. Nice little run from Hastings. And that's a scrum win to Western Suburbs. Ian Smith takes the tackle. Jim Release. Still only 10 yards out with 3 tackles to go. Cox. Merlau. And they built him back a yard or two. Out here. Cox. Lease. Eastern Suburbs defence has just been too strong, and West have been made to look a particularly ordinary team. Lamb. Conlon. Nicely to Duke. Pass knocked down. West come up with it. Play on as Lee Beater has it. And he's passed it, and East come up with the ball. So another error in the mounting error list. Warnicky. Schubert. Giteau. Back to Schubert. There's Giteau. That's on the halfway line. Aleph. Les Cleal, who takes a power of handling. Masterman. Last tackle coming up now. Look for the tactical kick from Hastings or the bomb. No, unloads to Harvey. And that's the 6. At the halfway mark now. 20 minutes gone in the second half. Wests have very nearly reached the point of no return. There's the Masterman scrum stat. 251 from 470. It's a 53.4% success ratio. Eastern Suburbs penalty. About the only thing that Wests are winning today is the error count, which is there. West's 11, East's 7. That's the number of times they've given it back to the opposition. Don't forget Sports World tomorrow. 10:30 through till 1. We'll be having as our main guest the Rothmans medal winner, Greg Brentnell, Canterbury and Australian fullback. plus a host of other sporting action. And our replayers, I think the match we've got on tomorrow morning is the South Manly one from last Sunday's big league. Warnocky, bit of shepherding there, surely. Giteau, away to Boustead, beautifully tackled there by Smith. And he's threatening to score again. Penalty against Mount here. Failing to get off the tackle player, really made a meal of it. See it again. Seems a pointless exercise when you look at it. It's kicked from Tobin, who's only going to be about 20 yards out. I'm sorry, from Giteau, who's only about 20 yards out. That's his 5th attempt. He's been successful with 2.
While Giteau is lining up the kick, the West camp being stirred into a bit of action. They could be making 1 or 2 changes. I think I can see Bruce Clark, the big front row, warming up.
Giteau's kick is unsuccessful. Taken by Anderson. It's about 10 yards out. That slewed right away, that kick. Morocco. Now here's 2 West changes coming down. Alan Neal's one of them.
Yes, and Clark and McElwain, I think, is the 3rd player. McElwain.
Broughton out there on the left for Western Suburbs, who are still in their quarter. Merlo shows the ball but doesn't unload, dies much too much with it. Yeah, the West reserves warming up at the moment. We'll see what they'll do. There's Greg Cox. Little sprint up to halfway. It's the last tackle. The kick ahead, straight down Schubert's throat. And he's going to bring it right back to them. Even more. Nice unloading to Cleal. And he's turning every West error back 20 or 30 yards. Aleph. Ball loose on the ground. Lamb has it. Lamb elects to go on his own. He's got some pace. Has he got enough pace? Fahey's going to get him. Fahey will get him. Fahey's got him about 5 yards out. Well done, Fahey. Now Western. Oh dear, oh dear, do you believe that? Do you believe it? Terry Leabeater dropped it in the open there with support on either side. There was a try on there. All he had to do was hold it and perhaps move it out to the right. And another golden opportunity for Western Suburbs gone begging.
There's 2 changes on the west side. Bruce Clark wearing number 18 is on, and I think Morocco is the forward to come off, and Alan Neal in number 22 for Greg Cox.
So as some players get treated for injury, Cox is off and Alan Neal on. And Bruce Clark on for Morocco.
Clark went into the front row for that scrum for West. Merlo back to 2nd row.
Now West being, oh dear, oh dear, do you believe it? Lisa's just kicked the ball. It's been picked out of the air by Warnocky, and again West get turned back. They've had a host of things like that happen to them. That was a slip catch. The old story of rugby league: when you're hot, and when you're not, you're not. Inside their quarter, Eastern Suburbs. Hastings switches across the ruck to Masterman. Looked a touch forward, that one. .15 minutes to go. 11-2. It'll need a storming, tempestuous finish. Oh dear, that put Smith under a bit of pressure, but he's picked it up all right. But Harvey's there. Run around with Warren Boland. Conlon. Oh, that was well taken. Anderson came round him on the halfway line. There's Bruce Clark. He's made a bit of a break. Tackle straight away. Neal, Mount here, Merlot, Lease, Conlon, intercept. Picked up now by Merlot. And I can't, well, perhaps he was tackled without the ball. They were both going for the ball, but let's have a look at the incident again. There was this long floating pass out there. Well, I'm not so sure that the West player didn't think he had the ball. Anyway, that's continuing the abysmal luck that Western Suburbs are having in this game. Not detracting at all from Eastern Suburbs' performance. They've been quite measurably the better team. But really, if Wests have never had such a day. Well, they usually do on the cricket ground, don't they? Anyway, Fahey is up and about. The penalty with 13 minutes to go to Eastern Suburbs. Don't forget replays of rugby league matches tomorrow morning at 9:30. Sports World at 10:30 through to 1. Dave Brown, the Eastern Suburbs prop, who's had a strongish game. There's a strong burst there from John Harvey. And another replacement coming on.
So that's Greg McElwain, number 16 for Western Suburbs. Player to come off is Michael Duke.
Greg McElwain, former Randwick Rugby Union player. Well, West come up with the scrum win. They've won the scrums 8-7 so far. The penalties are 10-all. Broughton picks that one up off the ground. Can't get around Boustead. And Merlot. Alan Neal. Jim Lease, who's been quiet today. Nadia. Neal. Nicely to Smith. Changes direction. To the quarter. Last tackle coming up. 12 minutes to go. Neal. Merlot. Out to Jim Lease. Takes the tackle. Gets it away to McElwain. And that's the 6 on the halfway line with now 11 minutes to go. The Western Suburbs scrum win. Both sets are back so flat. Nicely nudged away there to McElwain, the replacement forward, after an inside pass. It's kicked through. It'll be 6 to go. Play on, says the referee. Out to Anderson. 10 yards out from East quarter. Now they're wasting a tackle, trying to go from dummy half there. Bruce Clark. That's a better sort of a football. Making a forward lurch and then unloading. Lamb down receiving treatment at the moment. Conlon. Lease. Merlot. Got a pass away nicely to McElwain, who's featured very much in the time he's been involved in the game. Here's Neal. It's a terrible pass, but Broughton picked it up beautifully. Last tackle. Just under 10 minutes to go. Lee's kick is a horror. West might come up with 6 to go if they've got this, have they? They have. It was a terrible kick. Got a good result for them. McAlane, 10 yards out. Give them an opportunity for a fighting finish if they can get a try near the posts. Lee Beater. Only 5 yards out. Neil on the inside to... He might make it. Oh! Bruce Clark broke one tackle and was held up a yard out. Mountier. Neil, little chip through. It's still there to be scored. And hastened over the dead ball line as I think Masterman knocked it away from Boland. There was a try on there. Neil's little clever side-footed kick. And there was the ball knocked back by Fahey and then by Masterman. Near thing. So they've had 2 scoring opportunities in the last 60 seconds. West, Clark and Boland. A line drop. Up to Wayne Smith. Doesn't appear to be travelling flat chat then. He may be carrying an injury. Merlo. Unloaded nicely to Lease. Lease gets it out to Broughton. Broughton's tackled about a yard from the line. It's a penalty, double movement. He was held in the field of play. Lease's pass to him was a beauty. Schubert's tackle was not effective, but Hastings was. At that point, the referee judged that he was tackled in the field of play. And the double movement cost his team possession. That's 3 scoring opportunities in about 90 seconds. 7 minutes to go. Eastern Suburbs 11, Wests 2. Hub. Masterman, a little grubber kick through. And it might find touch. It won't. Boustead was close to getting it, and the penalty's gone against Boustead for pushing a Western Suburbs player. So they get the ball 10 yards their own side of halfway. See it again. Well, the referee may be a fraction harsh on Boustead on that occasion. Now, West still trying desperately to get this first try. Lease took that magically. Back to McAlane. It's going well. Mountier. The pass is kicked ahead by Broughton. The chase is on. Schubert, bleeding from the right eye, evades the first tackle and the second and loads it out to Fahey. Fahey kicks ahead. This is going to go in a touch on the full. Right out of the scrum back.
One of the few times I've seen Terry Fahey kick a ball when I've been watching him.
Yes, and left-footed too. 5.5 minutes to go. And West come up with another scrum with. It's Boland. Wayne Smith. Now West showing an urgency to unload the ball now that if they'd done 45 or 50 minutes ago, might have had them in a different position. Lease. Bad pass, but it'll be picked up, will it? No. Broughton on able to pick it up. Knocks it off. Scrums have gone 10-7 to Western Suburbs. The penalties are 11 all. Another scrum win to East there. Error situation tells a fairly graphic story. West 14, East 8. Warnicky. Good pace. Fahey left a little bit behind, loses the ball over the sideline. And a very effective tackle there coming in late by Wayne Smith, who is hobbling a bit at the moment. Penalty to Western Suburbs. That makes it 12-11. The penalties. The scrums are 10-8 West's way. We're inside the last 5 minutes. 4 minutes to go. Now Alan Neal. Terry Lamb. 30 yards out from East line, who've kept it very, very tight in terms of defence. Midfield. Neal. There's Bruce Clark, very replacement. Still managed to get a pass away to Lee Beater. He's tackled about 12 yards out. Now Lease. Timed it back to Broughton. Tackled 5 yards away. West back in a good scoring position now. Neal. Little grubber kick through. It's a try. Good one. Terry Lamb, is it?
Yes, it is.
And a beautiful kick by Alan Neal there. First class.
His 13th try of the year.
Well, watch this little kick. It's a beautifully executed grubber kick. And Lamb ran from an onside position onto it beautifully, right underneath the posts from head on. That's obviously a planned move. And one conjectures now whether Alan Neal injection into the side might have been considered at half-time. Conlon attempting the kick. He does so. So with 2 and a bit minutes to go, that lead has been chipped away. Eastern Suburbs 11, West's 7. There's the Magpie, looking a little bit chirpier than he was 5 or 6 minutes ago, but they've left it too late, surely. Time on again. That came off Merlot's leg, no knock on. Now it's Sydney or the bush as far as West are concerned. They've just got to fling it around and hope they can find an open space. Clark. Our time is unofficial, but we're under 2 minutes. It's McAlane. Just his own side of halfway. Neal. Lamb. Lease. Anderson midfield. And the urgency now on the west side, making a tragedy of the way they played the first half. Neal. Still getting his pass away. Lee Beater. Merlot. Terrible pass out to Lease. Now the Broughton. Broughton goes round Boustead and taken over the sideline. Perhaps a minute to go. Maybe a little longer. Attendance 21,167. Results of the earlier matches. Reserve grade Parramatta 23, Manly 5, and third grade Newtown 26, South Sydney 5. The West scrum win. Neal. Lease. Oh, how they're keeping it alive now. Smith. Crowd really getting behind them. Jimmy Lease, 6 to go. And the crowd setting up a hell of a chant as Bruce Clark comes ahead with a strong burst. But it's got to be movement. Neal. Unable to unload there. Merlot. Gone to ground too many times with the ball in this match. Neal hit hard by Giteau. There's the hooter. And that's the end of the section for Western Suburbs in 1982. Eastern Suburbs have done it very, very strongly and are going to pose a threat to all the other sides.